This video will be showing the basics of knitting. Now this is a better quality version of a previous video of mine teaching how to knit and purl. So this will be showing you how to create the stockinette stitch, which looks like this on the front and this on the back. Now this back is your purl stitches. So you remember purl stitches as being the bumpy stitches and knit stitches as being the flat, smooth stitches. Now when you create stockinette stitch without any borders, you get this nice rolled edge. So this would be good for the end of sleeves, necklines, or the bottom of sweaters, and even if you want just a rolled scarf. So to do a stockinette stitch, first you have to knit on the right side of your work. So the right side of your work for stockinette stitch is when you have your flat, smooth stitches facing you. So to do a knit stitch, you want to make sure that your yarn is in the back of your work away from you, and you want to insert your needle through the front of the loop, towards the back. Then you're going to take your yarn and you're going to wrap it around your back needle and pull it back through the loop you just went through and off your left needle. So you take your right needle and you go through the front, you go through the loop on your left needle, and you wrap your yarn around your back needle and pull the loop through to the front and off your left needle. And that is how you create a knit stitch. And when knitting, you just want to make sure that your yarn is behind your work. Because if your yarn is in the front of your work and you continue to knit, that's when you'll create yarn overs and extra stitches that we don't need. So one more time for a knit stitch, you want to make sure your yarn is in the back, and you take your right needle and you go through the loop on your left needle to the back, wrap your needle in the back and pull the loop through to the front and the loop off your left needle. And that is how we knit. So once you've knitted all your stitches, to continue your stockinette, when you turn your work and you see all the purl bumps, to continue our stockinette pattern, we're going to purl our stitches. So how to purl your stitches is you want to keep your yarn tail in the front towards you. And again, just like knitting, if we were to put the yarn in the back, you would get tangled or create extra stitches. So when you purl, keep your yarn towards you. You're going to insert your right needle from the back of the loop through to the front. Then you take your yarn and you're going to wrap it over your front needle, and then you're going to pull the loop through to the back and off your left needle. And that's how you create a purl stitch. So you want to take your right needle and go from the back to the front through your loop, wrap your front needle with your yarn, then pull the loop through to the back and off your left needle. So knowing how to knit and purl, of course, are the basics of knitting. You need to know both of these to be able to do any stitches or any patterns. You work knits on the front of your work and purls on your back to create stockinette stitch. So for a purl stitch, one more time, you're going to make sure your yarn is in the front of your work towards you. Going to insert your right needle through the back of the loop through to the front on your left needle. You're going to wrap your front needle and pull the loop through to the back and off your left needle. So now that you've learned both knit and purl stitches, you've created your stockinette pattern. So stockinette is when the smooth side is the right side of your work, and the purl side, the bumpy side, is the back of your work. Now if you are working reverse stockinette, the purl bumps would be the front of your work. So when you're facing the right side of your project, you would put the purls on the front. So then reverse stockinette would look like this. Bumps on the front, which would be the right side, and smooth on the back, which would be the wrong side. Now, like I mentioned before, if you don't put any border on stockinette, you will get a rolled edge. And sometimes that's good for projects. But if you don't want the rolled edge and you want your project to lie flat, make sure to put a garter stitch border, which is knit or purl every row, a seed stitch border, which is knit one, purl one, and then reverse on the opposite rows, or any other flat laying pattern. But once you master both knit and purl, you'll be able to make any stitch pattern. So I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you in my next video. Thank you for watching.